Karma begins with a man has been tied and beaten up. The abandoned warehouse he is in is set on fire. The firefighters find him, but he is badly burned. The doctors do their best, but his face is badly disfigured. After he recovers, he finally shares that his name is Park Jae-young. A female doctor hesitates and is troubled when he thanks her for her help. It cuts to 15 days before the fire. Jae-young hasn't paid 3 months' rent. He avoids his loan shark, who ends up kidnapping him. If he doesn't pay back in 30 days, all his organs will be harvested. With no immediate plan, Jae-young goes back to work. We see that he has also borrowed from Chang Seop, a friendly coworker who is easily fooled. He overhears his boss firing a Korean-Chinese ex-convict, Gil Ryong. He has a sick child, but he was only hired because of the company's prison rehab program. Gil Ryong threatens the boss with a blade before walking off. Jae-young then overhears Gil Ryong's wife berating him. He also notes a face scar and a hand tattoo and quickly looks it up. The tattoo belongs to the knife of Yinbian, a Korean-Chinese triad. They're known for their violent revenge tactics. Suddenly, Jae-young's father, Dong-sik, is in a hit-and-run. The driver is a rich guy who wants to privately settle and give Jae-young 5 million won. Jae-young gives his father 3 million for the bills, but tries to change his mind. Dong-sik refuses to give back the money, and a woman shows up. Surprised, Jae-young mocks Dong-sik for dating a gold digger instead of helping out his son. He then extorts 3 million more from the driver. That night, he heads to Dong-sik's to get some clothes for him. Along with it, he takes his dad's Rolex and some savings. As he looks around, he spots a life insurance policy with a payout of 500 million won if Dong-sik dies by motor accident or disease. On his way out, Jae-young is in a dilemma, as the only option for him is to be killed or kill his father. He is interrupted by some teenagers trying to get him to buy cigarettes for them. However, he gets aggressive and rude. Angry, the teenagers beat him up and steal his cigarettes and vape. He has a nightmare of being hacked to pieces and wakes up in the hospital. His dad is berating the cops for not putting CCTVs in every alley. He suddenly has an idea and runs off. He visits Gil Ryong and offers him 60 million won for killing his father. As collateral, Jae-young records their conversation and gives it to Gil Ryong. The only condition is that Dong-sik's death should not look like murder. Gil Ryong just needs to run him over in the same alley where Jae-young was jumped. Jae-young is in trouble almost immediately as Gil Ryong stalks him the next day. With a little digging, Gil Ryong has learned of the full payout and now wants 150 million. Cornered, Jae-young agrees. But he does rave and rant till Gil Ryong simply tells him to get a solid alibi. Jae-young invites Chang Seop for a barbecue and books a karaoke room with escorts. The plan is messed up as Chang Seop is called home midway. Jae-young goes to the karaoke room alone and stays there till 10-12 p.m., ensuring he is memorable to the escorts. He then tries to get the waiter's attention at a cafe. He smiles and coughs, watching a video at full volume. At that moment, Gil Ryong runs over Dong-sik. Jae-young stays till closing time and then heads home. He keeps waiting for Gil Ryong's call and is annoyed when he doesn't contact him. Fortunately for him, he finally gets a call from a chief park who calls him in to identify Dong-sik's dead body. Jae-young smiles at the news, but he seems to have tears in his eyes. Stage 2 begins with him pretending to cry over his father. However, he is shocked for real when a witness is brought in, Dong-sik's girlfriend. A flashback shows her talking to someone when the murder happens. She sees the car reverse, and Gil Ryong checking the body. On top of that, Dong-sik's body wasn't found in the alley. It was found buried in the mountains. Jae-young cries for real this time, as he mentally berates Gil Ryong for messing everything up. We see a hiker is vlogging in the snow. She is on MT Chowel, which is not a popular hiking spot. She spots a dog digging at something. The mud has been unearthed to show Dong-sik's dead body. It cuts to Dr. Han, Sang-hun, waiting for his date. He comments that his life has been uneventful, but he is rich and has a pretty girlfriend. The girl, Yoo-jong, is crafty and messes around with him. She wants to hook up, and he nervously takes her to a hotel room. She calls the shots and is frustrated when he hesitates to drink. After they hook up, she has to leave as her friend's father has passed away. Sang-hun doesn't want to drive while drunk, but she lashes out at him, and he agrees to drop her. She is grateful and flirts with him while he's driving. He tries to stop her, but she kisses him and makes a move on him. Suddenly, they hit someone. The man is instantly killed, and Yoo-jong wants to call the cops. Sang-hun stops her, ranting how she forced him to drink and drive, and he will go to jail, which means they need to cover up the accident. Another car arrives, and they hide the body, which actually belongs to Dong-sik. The driver is a mechanic and offers his help. Sang-hun insists that all is good till the driver and his girlfriend finally leave. As they leave, they wish they had taken a photo of Sang-hun. Back at the crime scene, Sang-hun decides to bury Dong-sik. Yoo-jong tries to stop him, and they get into a fight. Suddenly, a man drops his drinks, announcing his presence. He starts cycling quickly, and Sang-hun knocked him out. Yu Jong is at her wit's end as Sang-hun kidnaps the eyewitness as well. He then emotionally blackmails Yu Jong into accompanying him. They head to MT Chowell. Sang-hun wants to kill eyewitness, and Yu Jong has to convince him not to. Right then, eyewitness wakes up and starts screaming for help. Sang-hun beats him with a golf club till eyewitness promises not to say anything. He is whimpering and crying when Sang-hun sends him 10 million won, calling him an accomplice. Eyewitness tries to leave, but is told to help bury the man. Sang-hun regrets the 10 million, as he also injures his hand while digging. Eyewitness suggests digging deeper, but Sang-hun shuts him up and they bury Dong-sik in a shallow grave. As they get into the car, eyewitness asks for another 10 million. Sang-hun offers another 20 and tells him not to ask anything again. Eyewitness is delighted while Yu Jong looks shocked. As they leave, the dog from the beginning of the episode watches them. Back in town, eyewitness asks for some cash at the taxi, and Sang-hun treats him like a joke. After taking out the black box's memory card, Sang-hun gives his car for repair. It cost him 4.8 million, and he looks defeated. As Sang-hun struggles to come to terms, the mechanic couple stalks him and takes his photos. His hand injury has started to fester while Yu Jong ghosts him. She finally responds, saying she was busy. He asks her to pitch in to fix the car, citing financial issues. He then tells her not to contact him for a while. She agrees, and he laughs internally as he wants to punish her for making him drink. Someone enters the clinic while Sang-hun is treating his wound. He looks in shock as it is the eyewitness. The eyewitness asks Sang-hun for more money to stay silent on the matter, which puts Sang-hun in a shock. It cuts to Jeong practicing his fake mourning in the precinct toilet before he goes to identify his father. However, in the next cubicle, Officer Beck seems to have heard everything. He approaches Jeong and asks about his alibi. When he heads to each place to confirm them, he is surprised that everyone remembers Jeong. Meanwhile, Jeong struggles to get the insurance payout. The firm makes him wait for 3 hours before the supervisor meets with him. It happens to be none other than the hit-and-run driver who first hit Dong-sik. He explains that the payout cannot be released till the investigation rules Dong-sik's death as an accident. Jeong is furious, but the supervisor suggests that he only helps those who are kind to him. Jeong is awkward as he apologizes for extorting money from him that day. However, he is sent away with vague promises of the payout. He is annoyed to see that he only has 16 days left to pay off his debt. As for Gil-ryong, Jeong avoids him, and the ex-convict shows up at the funeral. Jeong is furious about the mess-up, but Gil-ryong explains what happened. Dong-sik hadn't died and seen Gil-ryong's face, which is why he had to improvise. But a deal is a deal, so Gil-ryong wants his money. Jeong tries to attack, but Gil-ryong pushes him off and threatens to reveal their recording. From afar, Officer Beck watches them. He follows Gil-ryong home to his junkyard and then sneaks into his trailer. He takes the recording and runs off, but Gil-ryong catches him. He believes Jeong has sent Beck and kills him. However, he is shocked to see that he is a cop and a CCTV has recorded everything. He tells Jeong he wants the money the next day or he will kill him. Instead, Jeong decides to kill Gil-ryong and avenge his father. Back to Eyewitness and Sang-hun. The former asks for 30 million more. A frustrated Sang-hun agrees, but needs a week. He looks angry as he doesn't have any other option. He then heads out to get his car. The mechanic finds it odd that the damage is on the windshield rather than the bumper. He assumes the deer must have jumped onto the car. This makes Sang-hun suspicious. He rushes home and goes through the black box footage. It shows Dong-sik's body falling from above. When Sang-hun stops the car and runs to Dong-sik, we see that there's a footbridge on top. And from there, Eyewitness is looking down and laughing. Sang-hun calls Yu Jong and tells her how Eyewitness has orchestrated everything. He will report it and claim Eyewitness forced him to bury the body. They meet in her car as she is still traumatized by his car. He shows her the CCTV footage, but she suddenly asks him how Eyewitness knew to target him at the right time. He doesn't understand, and she suddenly rants about how annoying he is and that she can date whoever she wants. He tries to choke her, but Eyewitness shows up and knocks him out. Turns out, Yu Jong and Eyewitness are a scammer couple. They decide to lay low in their hometown. At a distance, the mechanic stalkers follow the trio. The scammer couple imagine the ways they will cover Sang-hun's death as they arrive at their destination. It is the abandoned building which was burned down with Jeong at the beginning of the show. Yu Jong smirks at the memories of the place while Eyewitness calls her out for being weird. They're digging and bickering when Sang-hun wakes up. He is about to leave when he sees Yu Jong laughing. He runs the car into her and starts laughing when she dies. Eyewitness attacks him and Sang-hun tries to apologize. However, he doesn't have any money left to bribe Eyewitness who kills him. The mechanics record all of it. It cuts to a flashback of Yu Jong in school. She is watching Lee Ju-yun, who is popular. Yu Jong bitterly comments that Ju-yun pretends to be a prude, but flirts when no one is watching. Unwittingly, Ju-yun also steals the school magazine cover from Yu Jong. As revenge, Yu Jong pretends to set up a blind date for Ji-yeon. She then kidnaps her and leaves her with 3 boys at the abandoned building. It is suggested that they rape Ji-yeon. At present, an adult Ji-yeon wakes up from her nightmare. We see the burning of the abandoned building in Guho. The cops present include Chief Park. The doctors do their best to save the burned man, and we finally see his face. It is not Park Ji-young, the debtor. It is the arsonist with the gold watch, eyewitness. The next morning, Ju-young begins her routine as usual. She is calm with the stubbornness of patience even when she is injured. P.I. Huang watches her and offers his services to her should she ever need them. She is finally asked to visit eyewitness. She looks troubled when he says his name is Park Jae-young, which even her boyfriend, Dr. Yoon Jong-min, notices. She waves everyone off, and once she is alone, she takes a pill and breaks a mirror as she panics. That night, Jong-min catches her printing Jae-young's file. He looks worried as he tells her to run things by him if she needs anything. Once he leaves, she decides to hire P.I. Huang. We learn that P.I. Huang was a cop before he retired. She gives him $5 million in advance simply to find the whereabouts of 3 men. As she leaves, the mechanic stalkers show up as they are actually Huang's assistants. Huang decides to ask the help of Detective Kong, the lead detective on the arson case. As they chat, Kong reveals that there are multiple burned, unidentifiable corpses that he thinks are the suspects. As Kong hands the files on Ju-yeon's 3 men, he wonders why Huang is looking into an old rape case. This surprises Huang as he sees that the 3 men are involved in a high school gang rape. The culprits are Park Jae-young, Yoo Tae-jun, and Yang Yong-seon, and the victim is Lee Ju-yeon. A flashback shows Jae-young asking Ji-yeon out via Yu Jong. It is a sweet date, and she has fun. As they are returning home, 2 boys in masks jump them. At the station, all 3 boys are brought in. Ju-yeon is confused, and the cop reveals that Jae-young orchestrated the fake kidnapping and is one of the boys who raped her. At present, she sits beside eyewitness who is in pain. Huang calls her and tells her about the rapists. Tae-jun and Yong-seon turned into criminals and died gruesome deaths. Huang comments that it must be karma. As for Ji-young, he has been living a quiet life in Payu. She finally tells the nurse to give eyewitness some morphine for his pain as she realizes he is not the same Park Ji-young who raped her. Unfortunately, Kong updates Huang that Jae-young is the sole survivor of the arson case. Jong-min and Ji-yeon are having lunch when Huang updates her about Jae-young. This has Ji-yeon in shock as she wonders what to do. Meanwhile, eyewitness is awake and laughing as he has gotten away scot-free. The cops interview him, and he claims he was kidnapped and tied up in the abandoned building. 2 men were fighting over whether to kill him. Then someone poured gasoline over him and set him on fire. Is this what happened to the real Jae-young? The cops try to take his fingerprints to confirm his identity, but he is apologetic as he shows his burnt fingertips. The cops also share that his aunt wants to see him, and he looks annoyed. He calls for a doctor once they leave. Meanwhile, Ju-yeon imagines killing him in his room. In reality, he walks out, having convinced her superior to have him discharged. As he leaves, a woman complains that someone has stolen her husband's clothes. Ju-yeon goes after eyewitness in the elevator and accuses him of not recognizing her. In a roundabout way, he claims that she doesn't know him. When she pushes on, he claims that the Park Jae-young she knows doesn't exist anymore. She is stunned as she believes he is toying with her. She once again shows up when he gets into a taxi and blames him for her nightmares. He laughs at her for being clueless before the taxi drives off. As he leaves, Ju-yeon decides to kill him. We see the eyewitness struggling with pain while the taxi driver eyes him warily. It cuts to when eyewitness kills Sang-hun. He takes his glasses, his coat, and car, and takes off. At the same time, Sang-hun's wife calls P.I. Huang, berating him for being slow. His assistants finally show up, and he scolds them for being late. They simply give him the camera, and he is delighted that they have evidence of Sang-hun cheating on his wife with Yu Jong. However, as he continues to scroll, he comes across the photos of eyewitness killing Sang-hun. 10 hours before the fire, Jae-young tells Gil-ryong to meet him at a parking lot. Gil-ryong immediately secures a boat to China that he plans to take after getting the money. As he is leaving, eyewitness shows up and greets Gil-ryong as an old friend. A flashback to 6 months ago shows that eyewitness and Gil-ryong are cellmates. Eyewitness' sentence is over, and he tells Gil-ryong to call him if he needs any help. Yu Jong is waiting for him, and we learn that they are classmates. She needs people like eyewitness for her cons, and he is delighted. We then get a montage of Yu Jong sleeping with rich men and eyewitness extorting money from them. Some months later, Yu Jong meets Sang-hun for the first time. Right then, eyewitness gets a call, and he leaves before Sang-hun can see him. It is Gil-ryong who wants his help with Jae-young's life insurance con. Eyewitness is the one who helps Gil-ryong find the real payout amount. He also recognizes Jae-young as some loser from his school. On that fateful night, Dong-sik prays for his son as his sins can never be forgiven. A nun tries to comfort him, but he knows it is all in God's hands. While leaving, his girlfriend reveals that the parish is holding a birthday party for him. He refuses, saying that he has not yet recovered from his hit and run. After he leaves, she decides to bring him some cake. Once he reaches the alley, eyewitness runs him over twice. Gil-ryong goes out to check on him. The girlfriend arrives with the cake and sees it all. Gil-ryong tries to go after her as she calls the cops, but she runs off. Nervous, eyewitness and Gil-ryong drive off with a still-alive Dong-sik. Eyewitness panics as Gil-ryong suffocates Dong-sik to death. Now the cause of death is asphyxiation, but Gil-ryong is determined to get the payout anyhow. At that moment, Yoo-jong calls eyewitness, having spiked Sang-hun's drink so they can extort from him. Eyewitness suddenly has an idea and tells Gil-ryong he will handle the body alone. In his usual roundabout way, eyewitness rambles about his new scheme to Yoo-jong. Plan B begins as Yoo-jong wakes up Sang-hun and distracts him as he drives. Right when they reach the overpass, eyewitness throws Dong-sik's body on Sang-hun's car. At present, he tells all of it to Gil-ryong, who is annoyed that he made such a spectacle. Eyewitness insists that he wanted to bury Dong-sik well, but Sang-hun threw a tantrum. He wonders how they will get the payout, but Gil-ryong is determined. Meanwhile, Officer Beck is found, and from the CCTV, the cops get Gil-ryong's face. Chief Park goes through his belongings and finds Dong-sik's photo. In the parking lot, Jae-yong amuses himself by reenacting the way he will kill Gil-ryong. Once the ex-convict shows up, Jae-yong starts driving. Frustrated with the delay in the payout, eyewitness follows them. At Guho's entry, cops start looking for a suspect. Before he can spot Gil-ryong, Jae-yong chats up the cop. However, they're looking for eyewitness for Sang-hun and Yoo-jong's murder. Having caught on, eyewitness makes a run for it, leaving the car behind. As for Jae-yong, he takes Gil-ryong to the abandoned building. He pretends to get the money, and as planned, he attacks with a hammer. However, Gil-ryong had already spied on Jae-yong reenacting his murder in the parking lot. He knocks out Jae-yong and ties him up in the abandoned building. Gil-ryong shares their location, and eyewitness finally arrives. The two bicker as eyewitness doesn't believe they can escape the cops. He suddenly notices that he has the same build as Jae-yong. He kills Gil-ryong and changes clothes with Jae-yong, taking his watch as well. When Jae-yong wakes up, he orders eyewitness to free him. Eyewitness laughs and says he is now part Jae-yong. We see the debtor's ID card, which confirms that he is the real Jae-yong. We see Jae-yong promising that he will get the payout in a month. Eyewitness just laughs as he sets everything and everyone on fire. Right when he is leaving, a beam breaks and falls on him. Looks like getting burnt was not part of his plan. At present, eyewitness arrives at Jae-yong's flat. He gets a call from the insurance agent that the payout is successful. However, Dong-sik has changed the beneficiary to the church. It cuts to a flashback where Jong-min watches Ju-yeon confronting eyewitness in the taxi. Later, she indirectly confesses to Jong-min that she wants to kill Jae-yong before backtracking. However, he doesn't buy it as he looks concerned. Rightly so, as she pays Hwang to switch eyewitness painkillers with fentanyl. Hwang does it by bumping into eyewitness when he is rushing to the church. Ju-yeon follows eyewitness to the church, where he rants to the nun. He spots Ju-yeon and lashes out at her. He then takes a couple of fentanyl pills and storms off. Ju-yeon continues to follow him, and he tries to grab her. He insists that he is not Jae-yong, but she doesn't believe him. He falls, and she pulls out a scalpel. Jong-min pops up and begs her not to become a murderer. Having looked up Jae-yong, he knows the truth. Eyewitness mocks her, and she beats him before giving up and leaving with Jong-min. In Jae-yong's apartment, eyewitness comes across Ju-yeon's high school magazine cover, which triggers a memory. A flashback shows a young Yoo-jong sulking as she wants to teach Ju-yeon a lesson. Eyewitness has already graduated and is just out of juvie. He gives Yoo-jong the idea to let some of her male classmates rape Ju-yeon. Meanwhile, the cops are busy trying to ID the two corpses at the abandoned building. They suddenly find it odd that eyewitness claimed he was tied to a chair. Eyewitness was found on the floor, while one of the corpses was tied to a chair. Back home, eyewitness finally realizes that Ju-yeon had swapped his pills. Right then, Detective Kong calls for another interview. Eyewitness agrees to a meeting the next day. He realizes that the cops are onto him, and he escapes. The cops find an empty apartment, but realize that the painkiller bottle will have eyewitness fingerprints. They decide to compare it with the DNA found on Jae-yong's car to confirm if they are the same person. Eyewitness gets an alarm that it is D-Day. Right on time, the Loan Shark's thugs arrive and kidnap him. Elsewhere, Jong-min comforts Ji-yeon before heading to operate on his sick family. Turns out, he is the doctor hired by the Loan Shark for the organ trafficking. Jong-min took up the gig to pay off his student debt and save up for his wedding. Eyewitness is his last patient, after which he is retiring. Eyewitness and Jong-min recognize each other and are surprised. Eyewitness finally reveals that he is not Park Ji-young, but Kim Beom-jun. However, Jong-min doesn't believe him, thinking he is lying to save his life. Jong-min calls it karma, and for once, He is glad that he took up this side gig. He forgoes anesthesia and cuts into eyewitness. Ju-Yun wakes up to Jong-min waiting for her. He promises that good things lie ahead. P.I. Huang arrives with an update, but she decides to move on. He smiles and throws the DNA report, which confirms that the fingerprints on the painkillers belong to Kim Byung-jun. It also has photos of Byung-jun, aka Eyewitness, and Park Jae-young. As a parting gift, the loan shark has gifted Jong-min the stolen Rolex watch. At the end, we see Ju-Yun smiling as she leaves the hospital after a shift.